Hello and welcome to whathifi.com. It's my great pleasure to welcome here today Ken Ishiwata, the brand ambassador for Marantz and a man often described as a legend in the hi-fi industry. After working as a fashion photographer, Ken became involved in hi-fi product design in the late 1970s. Appointed as Marantz's senior product development manager in 1986, he spearheaded the Marantz sound for many years and is one of the very few people in the industry to have had landmark products named after him. Ken, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, you've been involved with Marantz for many years. Could you tell me a little about what drives you and what drives the company to create the products in the way that you do?
Well, Marantz already had a philosophy before my joining the company. Yeah? So I'm trying to keep that philosophy they already had. Precise stereo imaging, I have to say. Yeah? And then sweetness on the mid-band. And of course, together with this stereo imaging, it's created very unique atmosphere, I would say. Yeah. When I heard first time, I found, oh Jesus, this product, female vocal was so sexy. And I was really shocked. And that really made me realize hi-fi could be completely different. Of course, in that moment, I never realized one day I'm going to work with a company.
Now, we have a lot of debates on the forums and with people in the industry about measurements and the balance between scientific measurements and subjective listening. Now, you made a comment in the past which I found very interesting about how measurements can't be the be-all and end-all because measurements are static, whereas music is dynamic.
Exactly.
Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, because music, on every tiny second, it's changing. Where measurement, you are always talking with a constant signal. How can you compare behavior of a product feeding such a constant signal against dynamics like music? So you have to really understand how product has to work with music rather than a signal.
It's sometimes said that some audio products are better with certain genres of music than with others. Certain products are really good for, say, classical music, whereas other products work better with rock and dance and other kinds, So I understand that your taste in music is very diverse.
Yes.
So do you agree that it's hard to draw the line between these different genres, and how do you do it?
Yeah, see, that's where the biggest problem comes, because those speakers, which is well reputed, but those speakers in one condition to another sound completely different already. And that what is happening in the consumers' listening conditions. So for us, guideline able to drive speaker properly. So that means this is also one of the strong points Marantz always had. From low frequency to high frequency, having almost the same speed. You can have the low-end amplifier or CD player, but in Marantz's case, we try to harmonize the speed. Usually what happens is, mid to higher frequency, they become faster. And then they can't follow the low frequency. If that happens, I will bring this down.
So it's about evenness of the timing response.
Yes, and you see both, timbre, and also the time domain. So then you have a natural balance, I would say. In such a way, you can enjoy most of the condition on the different listening room, but still, you have done this flat work on the balance. You can still enjoy the music. That's the way Marantz do things.
I'm interested in another comment that you once made where you said that products are like people, everyone has its own personality. Could you say a little bit more about that?
Inside those electronics box, CD or amp, there's 1,000 of components. Those parts are like we human. Everyone has different character. So secret is how you make a teamwork. Like football. Like it's in Real Madrid, they have such huge names, but do they win always? They don't. Teamwork It's a key success factor. Same goes with the hi-fi.
Yeah, and what's your view of the various changes in the nature of recorded sound over the last few years?
Unfortunately, today, majority of technology for the semiconductors are so-called CMOS. Because on a computer, as you know, computers are getting faster, more powerful. So that means they needed the higher speed. So they are making such a tiny CPU, with such a high capability. And the same goes to the every chip making. So what happens is, unfortunately, DA converters, they have very high resolution, like 192 kilohertz sampling frequency with 24-bit. But actually, when you listen to it, they don't sound as nice as old 16-bit DA converters. Because these CMOS, unfortunately, are not able to deliver the current, where current is so important on audio. That's one thing I found pity today. Majority of DA converters, although on the measurement against static, as I always talking about, it's performed, yes, 24-bit resolution, no problem whatsoever. But once you listen to it, you said, what is this? So those are the things I think also the end consumer. So I want to tell to the end consumer, trust your own ears and heart.
Absolutely.
You take your favorite music, you play that specific track, and if your emotion is moved, this system has a value for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way I would always talk to the end consumer.
And lastly, on that note, obviously things are changing very quickly in terms of the development of technology, the influence of the internet, MP3 and downloading culture, and obviously there are quality issues around that.
Yes.
Can you just talk a little about the view, your view and Marantz's view on these changes?
We are still in the process of this new era, I would say, like it in MP3. Why MP3 was required? Because storage capacity was limited for Walkman, etc. But just look at today, USB memory, 8 gig, and it's increasing all the time. So one day, you no longer need to compress. So all those things are possible. So I trust people. People always want better things. So I'm sure, again, it's just a matter of time for Spectrum music will be back.
Lastly, in terms of products and direction, what does the future hold for Marantz?
We are specialists for playing back music. Music will never die as long as we human beings exist. So we don't change neither. That's who we are.
Well, Ken, a huge thanks for joining us today, and all of our viewers will be fascinated to hear your views. And for all you guys out there watching, keep checking back here and we'll continue to bring you more video news, reviews, how-tos and interviews right here on whathifi.com.